I would say absolutely so. We have a lost generation after the 1997 period who has not been able to access mainstream schools, and those who have been able to access have not been able to learn Chinese.
And why do you think the Education Bureau is maybe a bit reluctant to have this Cantonese as a second language course?
I think, to be fair, in recent years there have been a lot of reforms of the education sector, and these kinds of reforms are a piecemeal effort at trying to fix a broken system. So to that end, to expect the government or the Education Bureau to readily institute yet another reform of such a massive nature is understandably something that they resist in the short term. However, given how long it has been since the problem has been in place, it is really high time for the government to either consider a whole-scale reform to the education system so that they can work at all different aspects to ensure access to education for all children, and if it's not in a position to do so because it's very complicated, then we would say that it take its own piecemeal approach and try to reform at least this aspect of the education system by introducing Chinese as a second curriculum, the language curriculum, and by abolishing the segregated schooling system at the moment, which effectively separates the minority children from the local Chinese children.
And that stops them from integrating into society?
Yes. Essentially, children in the two camps grow up without ever having the opportunity to interact. Even where you have the model designated schools, the students who are local have a separate system of classes that they go to, and the non-Chinese students have their own classes to go to. They actually don't mingle at all. The only time when they get together is to confront each other in the course of a sports competition. So it's a very competitive activity. There's no opportunity to learn each other or make friendship across the two groups. So it is understandable that when we grow up into our adult life, we do not have friends who are from the local population. So we lead parallel lives in the same city, but we do not interact and we do not engage.
So what can actually be done now? Because I know that Unison and other groups have been looking for this sort of curriculum for a long time, and I think the Human Rights Commission suggested or told the government to institute it. So what can be done?
I think at the moment, given the Education Bureau's reluctance, if there is the support and adequate resources made available, then I think the only thing that can be done is to take the Education Bureau to court and to challenge them for the discriminatory impact of their policies on ethnic minority children.